Alrighty everyone, this is lesson 92 of Saxon Math Course 3's practice set. Now, we just went over the lesson finding the area of rectangles with variable side lengths and multiplying binomials. Now, practice set question A asks us, what is the area of this rectangle? Now, in order to find the area of that rectangle, what we're going to do is, first off, we're going to split it in half vertically and in half horizontally. That gives us 4 boxes which we can find the areas of. Now, this box has an area of x and times x because it has a width of x, a length of x. So we're going to say this is x times x, or x squared. This is going to have a width of x, but a length of 4. So it's 4 times x, or 4x. This is going to have a width of 2, but a length of x. So it's 2 times x, or 2x. And this is going to have a width of 2, but a length of 4. So it's going to be 2 times 4, or 8. Now, all of these are positive. So we're going to say this is x squared plus 4x plus 2x plus 8. Now, these are like terms, so we can combine them to get x squared plus 6x plus 8 as our final answer. This trinomial is the binomial expansion of these two binomials. Alright, if you have go through, make sure that you've understood these steps before we move on to the next example. The next example is going to be a similar method because it's asking about the area of a square with side length x plus 4. Now, if one side of a square is x plus 4, so is the other one. We're going to do the same thing as before, where we're going to cut the square in half and in half. Here, this one is x by x, so x times x is x squared. This box is x by 4, so we're going to have 4 times x, or 4x, and it's positive. This box is x by 4, so we're going to say it's 4 times x. Both terms are positive, so it's positive 4x, and we have positive 4 times positive 4. 4 times 4 is 16. So we're going to have x squared plus 4x plus 4x plus 16, which will give us x squared plus 8x plus 16 as our final answer. And that's part B. Now, question C wants us to find the product of x plus 2 and x minus 5 with a rectangle. So I've gone ahead and drawn that rectangle here. Now, once again, we're going to divide it into fourths. Here, this box is x times x times x is x squared. This box here is x times 2 is 2x. This is x times 5 times 5 is 5x. And this one is 5 by 2. 5 times 2 is 10. So we're going to have x squared plus 2x plus 5x plus 10. That'll give us x squared plus 7x plus 10 as our final answer. Going through, remember we're combining these central ones because they have an x in common, they have no other variables, and they have the same exponent. This x squared has a different exponent. It has an exponent of 2, so you cannot combine it with the 7x. Similarly, up here, the 4x and the 4x both have an exponent of 1, so we can combine them, but we can't combine them with x squared. We're going to move on to the rest of the examples. The rest of the examples will be practicing that FOIL method. So I'm going to keep the same color coding as the lesson, but we're going to be moving a little bit quicker. So make sure that if I move too fast, go ahead and pause the video. Take it step by step. Watch what I'm doing in between every line. So, starting with option D, expand. So we have x plus 1 times x plus 3. Now the first term in each of them, because remember, FOIL is first, outside, inside, and then last. So remember that we're going to be keeping that pattern. The first term is x and x, so we'll have x squared. The outside terms are x and 3, so we're going to write plus 3x, because x times 3 is 3x. The inside terms are 1 and x, so we'll write plus 1 times x is 1x. And the last terms are 1 and 3, so we're going to write plus 3, because 1 times 3 is 3. Now, we do have like terms here. So, for our final answer, we're going to have x squared plus 3x plus 1x is 4x plus 3. Alrighty, that's using the FOIL method to expand binomials for option D. Now option E says x plus 4, x plus 7 are the two binomials we're multiplying. So the first term is x and x. X times x is x squared. We're going to then go to our outside. The outside terms are x and 7. So we have x times 7, which is plus 7x. We have our inside. Our inside terms are 4 and x. So we have 4 times x, so plus 4x. And then finally, last but not least, our last terms. We're going to have 4 and 7. Now, 4 times 7 is 28, so we're going to write plus 28. Now, remember, for the last step, we're going to look at that center two terms. They both have an x. The x's have the same exponent, so we will add the coefficient. We'll have x squared plus 7 plus 4 is 11x plus 28. Now, the next one we have is x plus 3 squared. Now, this is similar to our area of a square example from C. We can remove the squared and replace it with a copy of itself, because without a copy of itself, it'll be kind of hard to tell which is our first, our inside, our outsides, and our last. Our first is still going to be x and x in this case, so we're going to have x times x, which is x squared. Our outside is going to be x and 3, so we're going to have 3 times x, which is plus 3x. Our inside is going to be 3 and x, so we're going to have 3 times x, which is plus 3x. And our last is going to be 3 and 3, so we're going to have 3 times 3, which is plus 9. Now we have a like terms in the middle right here. Both of these have an x. They have an x, they don't have a y, they don't have a z, they don't have any other variable, and their exponent is the same. They both have an exponent of 1. They do not have an exponent of 2. We can combine them with each other, but not with that first term. So we're going to write x squared plus 6x plus 9. And notice we are always writing our final answers in descending exponent order. We're going from the highest exponent to the lowest exponent, which is a non-existent variable with 9. Now, we're going to have a similar process happen for g, where we're going to say that x plus 10 squared is x plus 10 times x plus 10. Our first term here is x and x, so x times x is x squared. Our outside terms are x and 10, so we're going to have 10 times x, so plus 10x. Our inside terms are 10 and x, so 10 times x is plus 10x. Our last terms are 10 and 10. So we're going to have 10 times 10, so plus 10 times 10, which is 100. Now, we do have like terms in the middle here. 10x and 10x both share an x. So we're going to write x squared plus 10 is 20, x plus the 100 from the end of our expression, and we have our final answer. All right, we're halfway there. There's only 4 more examples left. Now, h is x plus 8 times x minus 3. Now, with this one, we're going to go with our first things first and go with our x's. X times x is x squared. Now, after we have that x times x is x squared, we're going to our outside. Now, our outside is x and negative 3, so negative 3 times x is minus 3x. Our insides are positive 8 and x, so 8 times x, or plus 8x. And our last are 8 and negative 3. 8 times negative 3 is going to be negative 24, so we're going to write minus 24. Now, here's a place where somebody could potentially make a mistake. We do have like terms here. We can combine them. This is not going to become negative 11. This is the same thing as 8 minus 3. Negative 3 plus 8 is the same as 8 minus 3. So we're going to get x squared plus 5x, because 8 take away 3 is 5, minus 24. It's important to note that since the signs here were different, our answer was a negative. Now moving on to example I. Now we're going to begin with the first of x and x, which will give us x times x is x squared. We're going to move on to our outside, which is x and positive 2. 2 times x is plus 2x. Our inside is negative 5 and x, so negative 5 times x is minus 5x. And our last is negative 5 and 2. So negative 5 times 2, which is going to be 5 times 2 is 10, but one of them is negative, so negative 10, which these two terms in the middle here can combine. 2 minus 5 would take us past 0 into the negative, so it would be negative 3. So we have x squared minus 3x minus 10. With example J, we've got x plus 2 times x minus 2. So x and x are going to be x times x, or x squared. For the outside, we're going to have x and minus 2. So minus 2 times x is negative 2x. For the inside, we're going to have x and positive 2. So 2 times x will be plus 2x. Notice here, we just had an additive inverse show up. Remember, an additive inverse is where two answers will add and make 0. Our last are negative 2 times positive 2, which is minus 4. Now, remember, if we ever have the same number and variable being added and subtracted, that is the additive inverse. An additive inverse will always equal 0, and when we're writing an expression, they'll cancel out. So we're going to have x squared. This is 0, but adding 0 doesn't change anything. So x squared minus 4 would be our final answer. If you ever see x plus something and x minus something, and these two things are the same, you're always going to get an answer which looks like this. You won't have a middle term, because these will always cancel out. You should still write them out, practice showing your work, make sure you get through these, but make sure you see this pattern. This pattern does show up in the future, and it is something important for you to know. Now, we have 20 plus 2 times 20 minus 2. Now, some of you might want to go ahead and add them and subtract them and then multiply the two-digit numbers. We're going to practice expanding them, though. So the first term in each is 20, so we have 20 times 20. Now, 20 times 20, that's 400. Then our outside is 20 and negative 2. So negative 2 times 20, which is negative 40. Then our inside, which is positive 2 and 20, which is 2 times 20, or plus 40. Notice we've hit another additive inverse. And then finally, negative 2 and positive 2, where we have 2 times negative 2. 2 times negative 2 is going to be negative 4. Now notice, we got that additive inverse again, and it's that same pattern as up above. So we're going to have this add to be 0, because 40 minus 40 is 0. So we're going to have 400 minus 4, which we can all do that math and get to 396. Alright, that has been the practice set for today. I hope you all understood it. If you have any questions, remember, you can always leave a private comment on the lesson for me. You can also have your parents message me on Remind, or send me an email. If there's anything that's too confusing, make sure you reach out. Don't be afraid to ask questions. I hope you all have a wonderful rest of your day, and stay safe.